Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about my predictions for the month of July in baseball. I'm going to be giving two predictions for each division. I'm going to be starting with the NL East because it's my favorite division. Obviously the Phillies are in it. So I think that the Braves are going to start to close the gap for first place in the division, but the Phillies are going to go on a win streak at the end of the month and basically just put the Braves away and just finally say we won this division. The Braves don't have a chance. Even if there is August and September still, I think the Braves are going to start to be like, okay, we're going to be a wild card team. We can accept that. The Phillies, I think, once they get Bryce Harper back, JT back, Schwarber back, and buying at the deadline, just all of that combined, they're just going to go on a really good streak. The only problem is that the Braves will also buy at the deadline. Probably both those teams are going to go for offense, both of them. I know the Phillies will. They're going to go for an outfielder. The Braves are probably also going to go for an outfielder. So I'm going to read off both of the teams' schedules. Now, the Braves play the Giants, the Phillies, the D-backs, the Padres, the Cardinals, Reds, Mets, and Brewers. So at the beginning of the month, they play the Giants. The Giants aren't a good team. The Braves should destroy them. Then I think they're going to take 2 out of 3 from the Phillies, which I know sucks for Phillies, but I think the Braves are just the better team right now. Then they're going to beat the Padres and the D-backs probably. But then they run into like a few issues at the end of the month. They have the Cardinals, Reds, Mets, and Brewers. So if the Mets buy at the deadline, which I'll get to in a minute, then they're going to be a good team. The Brewers are going to buy at the deadline. They're going to be a good team. The Reds, who knows what the Reds are going to do. And then the Cardinals should be a good team. So the Braves are going to run into some issues at the end of the month. And the Phillies are kind of the opposite. They're going to have some issues at the beginning of the month. They play the Cubs, Braves, and Dodgers at the beginning of the month. I think they're going to beat the Cubs. They're going to lose to the Braves, lose to the Dodgers. And then they have an A's series. They're going to sweep the A's, probably. I think they're going to sweep the A's to go into the All-Star break. Then, after the All-Star break, they play the Pirates, Twins, Guardians, and Yankees. And I know the Guardians and Yankees are both really good teams, but I think the Phillies are going to win both of those series because Harper coming back is just going to ignite this team. So, like I said, both teams are going to buy at the deadline. The Braves are going to start to close the gap for first place, but the Phillies are going to make it wider again at the end. So my other prediction for the NL East is that the Mets will buy at the deadline and become one of the best teams in the division, obviously over the Nationals and the Marlins. The Marlins aren't a question. They're better than the Marlins, but the Mets and Nationals are pretty close right now. I think the Mets are going to buy at the deadline, get some really good pieces, not trade Alonso. They're going to try and probably re-sign Alonso. If I'm the Mets, I'm going to try and re-sign Alonso. But who knows what will happen. And I don't think the Nationals will buy at the deadline. I think the Nationals are just going to sit tight, wait for their time. I don't think this is the Nationals' year. They've got some really good young guys. They should just wait to make a good run in a couple years, probably. Okay, so for my first prediction in the NL Central, I have the Cardinals are going to take over the division. They're going to take the division over from the Brewers. So right now, the Brewers are 6 games ahead. They're 6-4 over their last 10. They're 50-35. I mean, they're looking good, but the Cardinals are 7-3 over their last 10. Obviously, they've been really good lately. They have some really good young guys who are starting to step up finally. They're only 6 games behind, and especially if they buy at the deadline, I think the Cardinals are going to overtake the Brewers and kind of like give themselves an okay lead. Okay. My other prediction for the division is really hard because the 3 teams from 3rd to 5th are 2 games apart from each other. So the question really is who's going to buy, who's going to sell. I think the Cubs are going to sell, the Reds are going to sell, and the Pirates. The Pirates aren't really going to do much at this deadline, in my opinion. But I do think the Reds and Cubs are both going to sell. They're going to give away a lot of good guys, probably like the older guys. The Reds, I don't think the Reds are going to do too much, but I think the Reds are going to pick up some pieces for their future, like some prospects. The Cubs, I really just don't think it's their year. I know they have Shota, but, I mean, can you name anybody else on the Cubs right now other than, like, Cody Bellinger? They don't really have any other standout guys. I don't know about the Cubs. They're good at home. They're really bad away. They've been on just such a bad streak lately. I think they're, like, unless they turn it around soon, the Cubs are selling at the deadline. So that's it for my NL Central predictions. Now we're going to move on to the NL West. So I'm going to say that the Diamondbacks are going to continue to suck, basically, and they're going to trade away some guys. I don't mean like Corbin Carroll or anything, but the Diamondbacks will probably trade some good guys. Let me see who they have here. They have Christian Walker. I think they're going to trade Christian Walker, honestly. Let's see how old Christian Walker is. So Christian Walker is 33. I mean, there's no point in keeping him right now if I'm the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks, they're not going to go through like a rebuild, but they're going to try and kind of redo this team. Like, I know that they got to the NL, or they got to the World Series last year, but I don't think this is a team to keep going with. They're going to keep their pitching. I just think they're going to redo the offense, try to get some good prospects. Okay, my next prediction and the last prediction for the NL West is that the Padres will buy at the deadline and go on like a pretty good run, try and get to the playoffs, try to do some stuff in the playoffs. The Padres have been on fire lately, which honestly I could have never expected. They've been so back and forth this season. And if you look at like their stats, it's just like ridiculous. I mean, they're just so back and forth if you look at their schedule. But I think they're finally going to start to win, especially if they pick up some guys at the deadline. Okay, next I have the AL East. Right off the bat, Orioles are going to run away with the division, I think. I know both the Orioles and Yankees are on bad streaks right now. The Yankees, they're really showing weaknesses. Their pitching has been really bad lately. Offense has been really bad lately. I know they have Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, but you can't just have two guys carrying your offense. Although if anybody were to do it, it would be the Yankees. I mean, Soto and Judge are just ridiculous. But I do think the Orioles are just a better team. They've been calling prospects up, which is great. I think if they give Jackson Holliday another chance, he'll be really good. So the Orioles are just, in general, a better team, really. So my last prediction for the AL East is that the Red Sox will buy at the deadline and just start to do really good, basically. They're going to be really good. They're 5-4 over the last 10, which is funny to say because obviously that's not 10 games, but one of their games was postponed. So on the standings, it says they're 5-4 over their last 10. But think about it. They beat the Phillies. They beat some other good teams. And I think if they buy at this deadline, which they are one of the teams that I think will, they're going to be looking pretty good. All right, I'm really bored, so I'm just going to knock out these next two divisions pretty quickly. So in the AL Central, I have the Twins and Royals both buying and making the division race really interesting. The Guardians, Twins, and Royals will all be just so close to each other. They already kind of are. Guardians are obviously more ahead. But once the Twins and Royals get up there, it's going to be really interesting. And then my other prediction for the AL Central is less of a prediction and more of like a guaranteed thing to happen. I'm just going to say the White Sox are going to trade Garrett Crochet and basically everybody that they have, which is basically just Garrett Crochet because of how bad they are. So the AL West, my predictions are that the Mariners trade for hitting and still suck afterwards because I absolutely love hating on the Mariners. I think the Mariners suck. They're not as good as their record says, and their offense is just awful. I think they're going to trade for hitting, and they're still going to suck. And that kind of ties into my next prediction, that the Astros will take the division from the Mariners and basically just hold on to it for the rest of the season. They're going to get some pitchers at the deadline at the end of July and really just take a strong lead on the division. All right, so that's it for my predictions video for July. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to let me know in the comments. If you didn't, let me know what I did wrong and what I could do in the next video, and I'll see you guys in that one.